No. Oscar Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is. It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart. No! No! So was me. I'm the one who killed my mother. Athena! As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder is simply an irreparable. Murder is simply on an operating table. A scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears my theory was correct all along.
Objection!
True that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast suspicions of my mentor by claiming that he was used in such a manner. Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people. But she loved the daughter with all her heart. She loved me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain. She worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? Yes, my head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena, it's just the opposite. Emitted sound waves are nullified emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power is much stronger then than it is now. Those headphones were enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No, that can't be true. Then why would I have done something like that? Someone who loved me so much. I love you was real, that I can guarantee. That's why I know. That would happen to some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. You took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Punko was a witness, so I put it in the case and held Athena close and vacated the lab. I threw Punko away in the boarding lounge trash chute. I hid the case in the space underground. It would seem that we now have all of the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet. It can't end like this.
Objection!
Don't disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you? I'm not, but this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I managed to pull that through that way. I had to pull through that way in the past. I had to make it work. Defense is prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright. Yes, Athena. It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? I killed my mother. That's the truth. Just like Prosecutor Redruth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But if these be granted, just one chance to tell everyone what I recall. It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, would the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Redruth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Athena... Oscar Blackpool will be cleared and the Dark Age of the Law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt. And bring everything to its conclusion. I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle under my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty. I dare say, these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe the trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Objection!
Of course! I'm not gonna let this stand, are you kidding me? I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter right now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. You, Athena, are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said that you never changed, but could you actually have regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your child's emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me in the matters of the heart, Miss Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Did a little research. I looked into those special psych clocks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. Might be looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, the memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. For everyone's sake, that you're not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. And is there not a problem with Miss Lake's confession? Memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event, I can just tell. There's a problem with her confession. Please prove it to this court now. How would it have, rolled onto your fingers if it only is on the end?
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding the blade and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. If blood were to get on your fingers while you're holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, there's clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right. Oh my!
Objection!
The defendant must simply confuse a portion of her memories. Mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it. Fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could the contradiction be with Athena's memories mean? She used a different weapon? Miss Lake said blood flowed down to the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana, that much is for sure. There's no possibility that Athena didn't use the katana. Could help me prove her innocent. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be, exactly? Right, of course he would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down, not here, not now. That's right, I did. Because it's so obvious, it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Is there something other blade weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the scene photos. Wait a minute. There is something. It's high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have the particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. I mean, utility knives. They're sharp. But that's the murder weapon in the Lake Drawn case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Ron's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this are issued to the Space Center employees. Robotics Lab especially, we naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It's in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that. Once you told me it just now. There's something else you already knew. There's a toolkit at the scene. It didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Fine, but there's something odd about the design of these handles. Therefore, there's no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you, too, Mr. Edgeworth. You were the last person that was criticizing my aesthetic sense. No, simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Notice the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Ah, I see that they do, but what significance does that have? Clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. We rearranged the tools into a specific pattern. Maybe able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics help you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man. To the court this, then, if you would. What pattern of design will we see if we were to rearrange the tools? I mean... Can I show you the pamphlet?
Take that!
And what design is this supposed to be represent? The Galaxia logo, Your Honor. It's all of the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Galaxia is the program that operates the Space Center. You know, apparently the Galaxia logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. Really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going. Galaxia, huh? Isn't the name of the new Federal Space R&D program? Ah, I think I see it now, but... Yes, so just the tools shown in this photo. The red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Tehran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, you complete the Galaxy logo. So it would. That means... A minute, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic scent is keener than yours. And while you're at it... The weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. Ah! Order in the court. Miss Sykes confessed having memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes mostly did stab someone using a utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes murdered couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was a utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put the blood on a katana to make it look like the murder weapon, then concealed the knife on her personage so Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. You've just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright. The forces to forget the facts of the case. Need to remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder. The defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands. No. Matters not when the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife. As long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does it keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. The suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if... Mr. Wright, you've fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only option?